Manufacturer that burned as Minneapolis riots turned violent plans to relocate from the city. They didn't protect our people, Seven Sigma owner says of the city officials. Yeah. Remember last stream, I brought up the Chicago story where the mayor of Chicago was practically begging companies to stick with the city. The same city that let them get burned down and refused to stick with them, by the way. And it looks like not all companies are cocked. And they're like, unless you reimburse us for the damage we sustained, unless you give us a really good deal on an insurance policy, fuck off. A Minneapolis manufacturing company has decided to leave the city, with the company's owner saying he can't trust public officials who allowed his plants to burn during the recent riots. The move will cost the city about 50 jobs. And this is just the beginning, by the way. Just the fucking beginning. They don't care about my business, said Chris Riobek, president and owner of Seven Sigma Inc., which has operated since 1987 at 2843 26th Avenue in South Minneapolis. They didn't protect our people. We were all on our own. And I can fucking guarantee you that if they protected themselves, then the city would have came down and attacked them. Toxic's got a point too. That's like a woman begging you to give her another chance after she cheated. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, even better. This is one of those situations where you think the relationship is going well, and then one day she's just like, I'm dumping you because I found a better guy. And then 2 weeks later, she's back at your door crying because the better guy was just pumping and dumping her and just left her. And she's like, oh, but please take me back. Fuck off. I already know what you're going to do next time a better guy comes by. I love how these companies are definitely not putting up with this shit anymore. Riobek said the plant, which usually operates until 11 p.m., shut down about 4 hours early on the first night of the riots because he wanted to keep his workers out of harm's way. Now that's a good boss right there. He said a production supervisor and a maintenance worker who live in the neighborhood became alarmed when the fire broke out at the $30 million Midtown corner affordable housing apartment complex that was under construction next door. Uh-oh. The fire engine was just getting there. They wouldn't do anything. So I got to ask, how did firemen end up getting caught up in this? How the fuck are firemen now being lumped in with dirty cops? I can't remember a single instance of a fireman ever killing somebody, at least not on purpose. Maybe it happens on accident during a rescue. I don't know. But how the fuck did firemen get pulled into this? Yeah, what's going to happen to all these cities is going to be just like Detroit. All the businesses are going to leave. 2 days after the riots began, Governor Tim Walz described the city's response as an abject failure. Walz ordered the National Guard into Minneapolis to restore order at the request of Mayor Jacob Frey. The violence sometimes overshadowed peaceful protests over the death last month of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police officers. Now right there, I'm going to reiterate what I said before. If you are at a peaceful protest and that peaceful protest starts turning into a riot, that's the time when you go home. You fucking leave. And you can come back and continue your peaceful protest after the rioters have been dealt with. But if you continue in allegedly peaceful protest while half of your own protesters are rioting and looting, you will be painted with the same brush as all of them. Frey said Monday that he was unaware of Seven Sigma's decision to move. And they had declined to say that the company's decision reflects the challenges facing city leaders as they tried to convince business owners to rebuild in Minneapolis. Yeah. How likely would you guys be to rebuild in the city that let your business get burned down? Now, I will reiterate, if the city pays for all the damages I sustained with interest, I'll probably consider staying if the city covers the bill. But if they expect me to foot the bill and then stay in that city anyway, man, you guys can go fuck yourselves. You think businesses are charities? You think these small business owners are billionaires just sitting on money? Fuck no. If they're not making money off of their business, then they have no reason to stay in business. And I highly doubt that getting their business burned down made them money. Yeah, everyone who can move will move out of there. Fuck yeah. Many business owners have criticized the city, saying their pleas for help went unanswered. And the best part is the city didn't even have to help. All they had to do was not interfere. Let them defend themselves, and the riots would have been over the first night. Frey said the city was overwhelmed by riots. He said every fire truck was operating during the protests. Well, all you had to do is give people blanket immunity for whatever happens when they're defending themselves. This was a guard-sized crisis that demanded a guard-sized response. And once we had the full presence of the National Guard, which, by the way, wasn't deployed since World War II, there was a significantly different result. Now, the city's first survey of property damage shows that nearly 1,000 commercial properties in Minneapolis were damaged during the riots, including 52 businesses that were completely destroyed and 30 others that sustained severe damage. Yeah, if you're one of those that it was a total loss, you have no obligation or reason to rebuild in the same place. If you're lucky enough to get an insurance payout, which, by the way, a lot of these cocks are, oh, but they have insurance, right? A lot of insurance doesn't cover insurrections and things like that and riots. If you get the insurance that covers riots, you're paying way more. So if any of these businesses are lucky to get any money in insurance out of this, they should just take that money and use it to build their business again in a much better location. Owners and insurance experts estimate the cost of the damage could exceed $500 million, and that's just in one city. That will make the Twin Cities riots the second costliest civil disturbance in U.S. history, trailing only those in Los Angeles in 1992, which were also sparked by racial tensions with police and had $1.4 billion in damages in today's dollars. To accelerate the recovery, Frey announced Monday the creation of the Minneapolis Forward Community Now Coalition, which includes representatives of local business and community groups. Frey said the group will seek input from Black residents and business owners to make sure the rebuilding efforts accommodate their needs. So George Floyd, okay, so we're talking about George Floyd there. Yeah, moved to Minneapolis for a fresh start. In honoring his memory and generations of Black people who've been victimized before him, we will rebuild as a stronger, more equitable, and more inclusive city. Nah, everyone's just going to leave. I can guarantee you that. Frey said the coalition will seek financial help from a broad range of private and public partners, but refused to say how much money the city is willing to commit to the rebuilding effort and saying that would be premature. He said the group does not yet have a fundraising goal. The city will need to do its part as well. Yeah, like maybe not burning the businesses down. So Frey said, noting that he will request any new permits or license be expedited as much as possible. How about actually stopping violent rioters and looters from destroying these businesses in the first place? Then you won't have to you realize you wouldn't have to be rebuilding them if you just did that, right? Riobeck said it is too late to keep his company in the city. Seven Sigma is a leader in the production of precision rollers used in high-speed printing systems used to produce bank statements and social security checks. When asked if he thought of relocating before the riots, he said, "Not in my wildest nightmare." On Monday, he was sorting through the remnants of his business, figuring out how to get up and running again. We are cautiously optimistic we can do that, he said, but we are certainly not able to do that in Minneapolis. Well said. Yeah, there is no reason for businesses to stand by cities that did nothing as they got burnt down. It's always these leftists that bring up the social contract, right? Where was the government? Where were these leftist governments when it came time for them to live up to their end of the social contract? All these businesses paid taxes, and the taxes go to pay for things like police protection. And then they got to watch the tax dollars get squandered as the people they were paying to protect them decided, no, that's not for me, bro. That's not for me. Why would you trust that government again? They've violated all trust at this point. They violated their entire side of the social contract. And then they just expect you to shoulder all the costs. That we'll get through this together. And by together, I mean you're going to foot the entire bill. Man, go fuck yourselves. Find a better city, preferably one that has a lot more friendly gun laws and castle doctrine laws. That's where we are in current year. Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.